Hey yo, what's going on YouTube? This your man Khalid right here. Today what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a simple book cover, ebook cover that most people use for uploading their books to Amazon. Starting off here in Photoshop, we're gonna create a document with a 6, height of 9, 300 DPI. Alright. First off, what we're gonna do is start by unlocking this bottom layer. See there, all I did was double click on the layer, hit OK. We're also going to set our default colors black to back and black and white. As you see, X controls the flip-flops, the different color swatches. Either you got black up front as a forefront, white as the background, or you can have it, vice versa. All right, so we're going to have black as the foreground. We're going to fill that back layer with black. All right, and we're going to bring in our first image, which is going to be our background. All right, so we're going to play around with this just a little. Going to scale it up just to give us something to work with. All right, now we're going to play with the color balance just a little bit, try to get us a nice tonal balance going here. All right. All right. All right, so you see here we have a plus 12 on the red cyan, 0 on the green and magenta, and plus 58 on the blue and yellow. All right. Now that we have that, we're going to also add curves to this to give it a little bit more contrast, give it a little bit more pop, heighten the highlights just a little bit, give us that shadow, that feeling that draws you into the center of the image here. All right. Next, we're going to bring in our model, which she's already cut out in a separate PSD. So we're going to drag her over to our book cover, and we're going to scale her up. We want her to take up majority of this image. So we're going to scale her up pretty big. All right, now you notice here we have this little white area here. The easiest way to get rid of that is by going here, holding down on your eraser tool, and as you see here, I have the magic eraser tool selected. If you grab that and just click on the white, it disappears. All right, now of course you can see that she's not really blended well into the background, so as well we're going to add hue and saturation to her. All right. Make sure you add this clipping mask on here if you don't want to affect everything below it. All right, think that's fine. Now we're gonna add some curves to her as well. Once again, make sure the clipping is on. Okay. All right, what I normally do in this particular situation here, play around with her colors as well. All right, let's give her, take away a little bit more of the, all right. Make sure we clip that out on her as well. Anytime you add an adjustment layer and you want to affect that particular image, just make sure you have the clipping on. If not, it's going to affect everything below. As you see here, if I take the clipping mask off of this one here, it affects the back. And you also add a clipping mask by holding Alt and clicking in between two layers. Alright, now that we have her, we're going to add some things to this background here. And as a matter of fact, we're going to size her down a little bit. So we're going to press Control T, hold Shift and Alt, and drag from the corner. I wanted to take up most of it, but not all of it. I have a couple things I want to do here in the background. Alright. And once everything is over and said and done, she'll blend in a little more with the background as to achieve the image that we're looking for, that pop that we're looking for here. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the top. Let's see, gonna grab this falling money, gonna drag it up, and we're gonna scale it up. All right, so we're gonna make it look like there's money falling from the sky behind her. All right, so now that that's in, we're gonna drag this below her, and we're gonna set this to an overlay. That gave us a nice dimension back here in the back. You can see the money in the background. Got her up front. What we're going to do, we're actually going to take the title and we're going to end up putting the title across here to kind of cover up a little bit of her cleavage. One is sexy, but not provocative. Overly provocative, if I should say. All right, now, going to grab this guy. We're going to drag him in. All right, and we're going to kind of put him in the background. Normally, if I put someone in the background, then I normally put the secondary, tertiary characters off in the background just to add a little bit more oomph to the whole cover, the overall thing. All right, so he's back there. We're going to add a mask to him. We're going to select our gradient by pressing G. Make sure our colors are set to black and white with black as the foreground color. We're going to hold shift at the bottom of him, and we're going to drag up to just kind of fade him into the background. All right, and we're also going to add hue saturation to him as well. All right. All right, there we go. All right, once again, make sure you do the clipping to keep everything below it to the what you set it as before. All right, and we're also going to add some curves. Clip it. Bring him in real nice right there. That's nice. All right. Now that we got them in, let's see, was there anything else that I was supposed to add? Okay, that doesn't come in yet. Okay. So this Heaven Sky Bright Light, we're probably not going to use. Minimize that. All right. Now what we're going to do, we're going to get into adding our text layers. It's going to be a real quick tutorial. I have a webinar I have to attend here in a few minutes. All right. Click our text. Your title. I can't spell this morning. Y'all have to excuse me. All right, and goes here. All right, now the reason I did this like this is because I already have a image in my head of how I want this title to look. Your and title are gonna be on their own layer. Goes here, I put on the same layer because they're gonna be together like that no matter what. But this gives us a little bit more freedom with the your title and goes here, so that way we can adjust them in the way that they need to be adjusted to make the title pop. All right, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna double click on the T for title to select my text. I'm going to select my T, and I'm going to drag that up just a bit. All right. Now, notice you can't really see this, so yes, we are going to play around with the colors here in a little bit. Let's see. Let's select a good. No, I think I'm going to leave title in that text. I am, however, going to hit Control T, and I'm going to Shift and Alt, drag it. I want this title to be big enough to cover up what needs to be covered up. So we're probably going to put title right about here. All right, and we're going to double click it once again, select our color, and I'm going to pick a color from the background. Just kind of playing around with the colors here at first just to see what pops. That blue's nice, but not going to work. Might be a little over the top. You know what? Yeah. Alright, we'll go with that for the moment. We are going to add some more effects to this here in a little bit. For right now, we're going to add a drop shadow just to make it stand out just a little bit. Alright, we're going to turn our spread up to about 10. We're going to turn our size up as well. Alright. And you can see a subtle difference. Like I said, we are going to play around with this. We'll probably add a gradient overlay to this here in a few minutes. Alright, your double click once again, select our color. Alright, I like that white. Alright, that's cool. We can deal with that. Alright, now what we're going to do, we're going to drag your above title because we want it on top of it. We're going to control T. I'm not exactly sure what just happened there, but control T, shift and alt. Gonna drag it up ever so slightly. Alright, and we're gonna drop this right about, let's say, here. Alright, and of course we're gonna add a drop shadow, make it stand out just a little. Once again, turn your spread up a little above 10, and your size, just whatever looks good to you. Play around with these values until you actually are comfortable with something that you like. All right, now goes here. We're gonna double click. Make sure you double click until it's actually highlighted. All right, we're gonna change this. We're gonna play around with it just a little bit till we find a text that we like. That's something I have to really do. I have to go back and find a few more fonts. Don't really have many to pick from right at the moment. Most of these are stock. Most of the ones that you see with the T's beside them, those are the ones that I've actually downloaded myself. All right, so I think I can deal with that. I don't think it's too much script. This here is a little more plain than the rest of the text. All right, and let's see. All right, we'll deal with that. We'll actually set this here to the same color as your, and we're gonna actually take the same drop shadow. So if you hold down Alt, click on drop shadow, and drag it to your goes here layer. See, now we have the whole drop shadow and everything. All right, we're gonna finish getting our text in here real quick, just to kind of get everything out of the way. Then we'll go back and play with some of the colors. Author name normally goes at the bottom of the book cover. It really doesn't matter. It just matters what looks good to you. If you like it, then there's nothing anybody can tell you different. All right, let's see. Gonna find a nice font to put this author's name in. Don't want to go with script because script is gonna be a little too much here now that we have everything in. Let's see. What else do I have downloaded? All right, we're gonna keep scrolling. Don't want to do Mademoiselle. Not sure what that is. Nothing but a bunch of symbols. Fat Grunge, Queen Lemon. Not really. Let's see. Goals here, we having great vibes, so I think we're probably gonna go with the same thing. Not It's not too scripted. Adds a little bit of that simplicity to the cover. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna scroll back up to our G's. Go to great vibes. All right. Now we have author name in. Bring her down. What you want to do, you kind of want to keep everything. Kind of want to keep everything proportioned. When you bring your author name down to the bottom, try to leave at least a quarter of an inch. Otherwise, it will be kicked out by Amazon or wherever they're uploading the book. They consider it to be inside the bleed area. Went through some trouble with that one time before and had so much trouble till I actually figured out what they were talking about. They want a trim on the outside and a trim on the inside, just to be sure that nothing gets cut off. But we have author name here, and what we're gonna do, we're actually gonna, while I have author name selected, I'm gonna hit Control, and I'm gonna select our background layer, and I'm gonna hit the center just to make sure that it is in the center. All right. So now we're gonna go back up author name once again. Alt, click drop shadow, drag it down onto author name, give it that pop. All right. And now it's time for the publishing company. Alright, so what I normally do, I normally turn my font size down to about 14. Publishing company presents. Okay, so yeah, I am gonna have to edit that just a little bit. Alright, what I normally use for this one is See You at the Movies. It is a free font downloaded on 1001fonts.com. Alright, and I know it's quite small right now. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna double click until it's highlighted. Alright, gonna bring it up. We're also gonna increase the spacing in between the lettering. Alright, and I'll show you how to edit this here in a minute. Hit Control T and hold Shift and Alt, and you're gonna drag from the top. And what that's gonna do is gonna keep it in proportion. It's gonna drag it from the bottom and the top to condense the text just a little. Alright, hit Enter. Once again, with publishing company selected. Matter of fact, before we do that, let me go up here and correct my spelling. All right, and we're also going to take presents, and this is at 41, so I'm gonna take this down to maybe about 36. That just adds a little bit of contrast to the publishing company title, so that the publishing company name actually stands out. All right, so now with publishing company selected, we're gonna go down, click on our bottom layer once again, click on the move tool if it isn't already popped up, and click center. All right, now we're gonna go up here, publishing company presents, hold shift and use your arrow keys to nudge it up just a bit. And once again, we're gonna use the same drop shadow just to kind of keep things in perspective. We have publishing company presents. All right, now what I normally do, a lot of people, they go in and they add a gradient map, or what is it, color lookup on top of everything. I don't like to do it on everything. I like to do it underneath the text, so that way the text, the title, everything stands out, it pops. So what we're gonna do, go up under title, the first layer of text that we put in, and we're going to go in here, we're gonna add color lookup. All right, with color lookup selected, we're gonna kind of scroll through until we find something that we like. Oh, I don't like that bleach. Just gonna keep going until we see something that we really like, something that we can. But now you see where I'm saying that, by adding these things in, it kind of blends her in just a little bit more, make her stand out. Not stand out, but actually feel like she's more part of more part of the actual cover now. I like it, but not really. All right, let's keep going. Futuristic bleak. That's what I'm thinking about going with. No, as a matter of fact, let's see what happens if we play with this opacity just a little. Okay, I can deal with that. So yeah, we're gonna go with late sunset. We're gonna turn our opacity down just a little, just so it's not overpowering. All right. Um, go back here to color lookup. All right, now we're gonna add a gradient map. If I can find it. Here it is. All right. Now what this is gonna do is gonna put a gradient over your entire book cover. Once again, you can always edit this. You can change it if you would like. Just gonna kind of play around with these until I find something like that. So once again, we're gonna turn that opacity down. Just want it to be subtle. All right. Now I'm gonna go in here to title. We're gonna add a first of all, we are gonna add a gradient overlay, but first of all, we want to change our foreground color to the color of it so that we don't lose that color. All right, now we're gonna go in here, add a gradient overlay. All right, we're gonna click here, click on our first one, change our color. We're gonna change it to the color that we had the text set to originally. All right, and this one here we're gonna set to, we're gonna leave it at white, but we're gonna drag it down to the middle. We're gonna click on our first one, click over here to keep that color. All right, and we're probably gonna toss some gray in here. So we're gonna click here. We're gonna change this here to maybe like a light gray. Like a real subtle gray. All right, there and also here. Or as a matter of fact, what we'll do, all right, delete. I'm sorry, Control Z to bring things back to undo your last step. Click on those two grays and we're gonna get rid of them. Didn't really like the outcome of that, so we're gonna put another one of our beginning colors in here, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna find a lighter color, like that. Copy the color code. Okay. All right, and we're gonna come down here and do the same thing, which is already there. We're gonna drag this here, which this here kind of controls how much of the gradient, how much of it actually, how much it spreads, that particular color spreads. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna drag that white a little bit closer to the middle. Hit OK. I'm gonna change this to reflected, and we're gonna play around with the sizing of it just a little, the scaling of it. Don't really like reflected. Let's go back to linear. All right. Okay. Now we're gonna turn our drop shadow off for a second. Is what we're about to do is gonna affect it. So yeah, we're gonna turn that off. We'll add it back here in a minute. All right, you're gonna click on title, make sure it's selected, hit Control, and click on the T. Create a new layer. Go up to select, modify, and we're gonna expand it. We're gonna expand it by 15 pixels. Excuse me. All right, so what that did, that just the same shape of the title that we already have in, that just kind of expanded us, gave us a little bit more room to play with. All right, now what we're gonna do, we're actually going to go in here and we're gonna select light gray, hit OK, and on that new layer, we're gonna hit Alt and Delete to fill that. All right, now we can hit Control D to deselect. Okay, now we're gonna go in and we're gonna add a bevel and emboss to this. All right, so what you want to do, you want the hill valley. Just kind of play with these until you see something that you like. We're gonna want an outer bevel as well. All right. All right, you want to ever so slightly. All right. And we're also gonna add a gradient overlay on this. We already have our gray selected, so we're gonna go in, and what you're gonna want to do is kind of dibble and dabble just a little bit in the gray. Once again, all right, let's delete that one. Bring this gray over here. All right, and we're probably gonna want to darken that one up just a little, just kind of give it a little contrast. And finally, we're gonna bring this last one down here. All right, so now you can see that we have that whole gray white, gray white, gray type thing going on, make it seem like it has an actual shine on it. Okay, we're gonna hit OK. Now we're gonna bring this down below title, and we're gonna play around with that bevel and emboss just a little bit. I believe that's a little too much. All right. All right. Now we have our drop shadow back on. Of course, you can see the outline here of the bevel and emboss. All right, and Control 0 to bring it up, and there you have it. We have a completed pre-made book, ebook cover. Me personally, I like it. Like I said, it was just a rush job, just something to kind of dibble and dabble. I know I don't see a lot of book cover tutorials here on YouTube. Just kind of thought that I would put one out just to give knowledge to those that are looking into getting into it. There's a lot of money to be made in actually making book covers, but you actually have to have the passion for it. If you don't have the passion for it, then of course it's not gonna do you justice, because I've seen so many book covers across the net to where people just actually took images straight off of the internet, didn't bother to clip them out, didn't bother to put any time into them, and just kind of threw them together, and it looks like a bunch of crap. Me personally, I don't like to put out crap. This one I like. I feel like it could use a little bit more work, but it's gonna take a little bit more tweaking, little more finessing and everything else. But you have the gist of it. I don't know. What can you say? I am my own worst critic. I go over things with a fine-tooth comb until I actually feel comfortable with them. And what we're actually going to do, I'm actually going to change the color of Ghost here. All right. And we're probably going to select maybe the color of his tie. Or maybe that under part. Yeah, we'll change it to the color of the under part of his vest. We'll change to the color of his vest instead of just white, just to kind of give it a little bit more contrast. And there you have it, pre-made book cover. Thanks for joining, and until next time, peace and be safe.